This heat could kill you. This is not an exaggeration. It is a simple, urgent fact. A recent study projects that by the middle of this century, millions more people around the globe will face days with deadly levels of heat every single year. This is a profound shift in our climate, one that touches every corner of our lives in ways we are only beginning to understand. We often dismiss heat as a minor inconvenience, something to complain about during the long days of summer. But extreme heat is different. It is a public health crisis that arrives silently, without the dramatic visuals of a hurricane or a flood. Yet its impact can be just as devastating. What exactly is a heat wave? It is more than just a few hot days. It is a prolonged period of unusually high temperatures that lingers for days or even weeks. It is often accompanied by high humidity, which makes it harder for our bodies to cool down. The danger doesn't always end when the sun goes down. A key feature of a dangerous heat wave is the lack of overnight cooling. When nighttime temperatures remain high, our bodies are denied the crucial recovery period they need to shed the heat absorbed during the day. This relentless exposure is what makes a heat wave a formidable and often underestimated threat to human health and well-being. The reason this matters is straightforward. This persistent, intense heat can kill. It can also inflict a wide range of harm in ways that are not immediately obvious. We are conditioned to think of heat as something that makes us feel uncomfortable, sweaty, or tired. We are not, however, conditioned to see it as a direct threat to our bodies, our infrastructure, and the essential services we all rely on every single day. The reality is that extreme heat strains our bodies to their breaking point. It also pushes our power grids, our water supplies, and our healthcare systems toward failure, creating a cascade of risks that can affect an entire community. Understanding this threat is the first step toward preparing for it. Extreme heat does not affect everyone equally. Certain groups of people are far more susceptible to its dangerous effects, and knowing who is most at risk is critical for saving lives. Older adults, particularly those over the age of 65. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at regulating temperature, and we may not sense or respond to dehydration as quickly. Many older individuals also live with chronic health conditions. Living alone can further compound this risk, as there may be no one to check on them or notice early signs. Very young children, infants. Their bodies are smaller, and their temperature regulation systems are not yet fully developed, making them more prone to overheating. They rely completely on caregivers, and they cannot communicate their discomfort in the same way an adult can. Outdoor workers, people who build our homes, pave our roads, grow our food, they are directly exposed. Without mandated breaks, access to shade, and plenty of water, their jobs can become life-threatening. The human body is a remarkable machine. Our internal temperature is tightly regulated around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. When we get hot, our primary cooling mechanism is sweating. As sweat evaporates from our skin, it carries heat away from the body. During periods of extreme heat and high humidity, however, this system can become overwhelmed. The heart is forced to pump harder and faster. The body loses vital fluids and salts through perspiration. If these fluids are not replaced by drinking enough water, dehydration can set in quickly. Dizziness, fatigue, muscle cramps. This initial stage, heat exhaustion. The symptoms can be subtle at first: heavy sweating, weakness, a rapid pulse, nausea. While serious, heat exhaustion is usually treatable by moving to a cooler place, resting, and drinking fluids. But if these steps are not taken, it can progress to a much more dangerous condition: heat stroke. Heat stroke is a life-threatening medical emergency when the body's temperature-regulating system fails completely. The body loses its ability to sweat. Its core temperature can rise to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, or higher in a matter of minutes. The signs demand immediate medical attention. The skin may feel hot and dry to the touch, rather than sweaty. The person may become confused, disoriented, or agitated. They might slur their speech, have a seizure, or lose consciousness. At this stage, the high internal temperature begins to damage the brain and other vital organs. Without rapid cooling and emergency medical treatment, heat stroke can lead to permanent disability or death. Beyond these direct impacts, heat also exacerbates a host of other health problems. The strain it places on the heart can increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes, particularly in those with underlying cardiovascular conditions. For people with respiratory issues like asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, heat waves bring a double threat. The heat itself can make breathing more difficult, while stagnant, Hot air traps pollutants and increases the formation of ground-level ozone. This toxic air irritates the lungs, triggering asthma attacks, sending more people to the emergency room with breathing difficulties. Heat doesn't just make us hot, it makes existing health problems far more dangerous. The most visible danger of a heat wave is its direct impact on human health. But there are many hidden harms that ripple through our communities. These indirect effects can be just as destructive, undermining the systems and resources we depend on. Damage to food supplies. Drought from prolonged heat and lack of rain devastates agriculture. Crops wither and fail in the fields. Lower crop yields. Rising food prices at the grocery store. Economic losses for farmers. Economic strain on rural communities. Water security is under threat. Water demand soars as people try to stay cool and hydrated. Cities and farms need more water for cooling and irrigation. Meanwhile, supplies dwindle. Rivers shrink. Lakes shrink. Reservoirs drop. A serious dilemma: how to allocate scarce water. Impacts on hydroelectric power generation. Impacts on a city's ability to maintain green spaces. Urban green spaces help fight heat. Food and water insecurity creates long-term community hardship. Heat waves also set the stage for disease spread. Mosquito ranges expand. Tick ranges expand. Longer active seasons for pests. Warmer water in lakes promotes algal blooms. Warmer coastal waters do the same. Growth of harmful bacteria like Vibrio. Contaminated seafood risks. People swimming in contaminated water risk illness. People eating contaminated seafood risk illness. Our mental health is not immune. High heat links to increased irritability, increased aggression, and higher rates of violent crime. Physical discomfort and disruption take a psychological toll. Sleepless nights when temperatures don't drop make restorative sleep difficult. This worsens anxiety. This worsens depression. Heat reduces cognitive performance, and it degrades quality of life. The cumulative stress of longer, more intense heat waves is a growing, often overlooked, public health concern. One of the most frightening scenarios during a severe heat wave is the failure of the electrical grid. Our modern lives are built on a foundation of reliable electricity. And nowhere is this more apparent than during extreme heat. As temperatures soar, millions of people turn on their air conditioners and fans, causing a massive surge in demand for power. This puts an incredible strain on the entire system, from the power plants that generate electricity to the transformers and transmission lines that deliver it to our homes. When demand outstresses the grid's capacity, or when equipment fails under the physical stress of the heat, the result can be a blackout. A power outage during a heat wave is not just an inconvenience. It is a life-threatening event. For vulnerable individuals, air conditioning is not a luxury. It is essential medical equipment. When the power goes out, their primary means of staying safe is suddenly gone. A hot, stuffy apartment can quickly become dangerously overheated, putting elderly residents, young children, those with chronic illnesses at extreme risk. Cooling centers, which are set up by communities to provide a safe refuge, may also lose power, rendering them useless at the moment they are needed most. The cascading effects can be devastating. Hospitals and other critical facilities also face immense challenges during a heat-related blackout. While most have backup generators, these systems are typically designed to run for a limited time and may not be able to power an entire building, including all of its air conditioning. A hospital trying to care for an influx of patients with heat stroke while simultaneously dealing with a power failure is a nightmare scenario for healthcare providers. The loss of power also means the loss of refrigeration, leading to spoiled food and medications, and it can disrupt communication networks, making it harder for people to call for help or for emergency services to coordinate their response. The risk of grid failure highlights a critical vulnerability in our infrastructure. Many of our power systems were designed for a climate that no longer exists. They were not built to withstand the record-breaking, sustained demand that is becoming more common with today's heat waves. Planning for a more resilient grid is essential for climate adaptation. This includes upgrading aging equipment, diversifying our energy sources to include more renewables that can be distributed locally, and implementing smart grid technologies that can better manage demand. Without these investments, the risk of a deadly large-scale blackout during a future heat wave will only continue to grow. The danger of extreme heat is a global phenomenon, touching cities on every continent, revealing shared vulnerabilities across different cultures and economies. In the sprawling urban centers of India, Pakistan, brutal pre-monsoon heat waves have become a recurring tragedy. In 2015, a severe heat wave in the region claimed thousands of lives, overwhelming hospitals and morgues. Many of the victims were outdoor laborers, the elderly, and residents of densely populated informal settlements. Homes are often constructed from materials like sheet metal that absorb and radiate intense heat, offering little to no relief. Europe. Recent summers have shattered temperature records from the United Kingdom to Italy. The 2003 European heat wave is estimated to have caused over 70,000 deaths. Many older European cities were built to retain heat. The lack of widespread residential air conditioning has now become a critical vulnerability. In the United States, cities in the Sun Belt, engineered for hot climates but now facing temperatures that push the boundaries of human tolerance, making nighttime temperatures dangerously high. Risks are acute for the homeless, outdoor workers, and residents who cannot afford high electricity bills. The challenge is perhaps greatest in the rapidly growing cities of Africa and South America, where urban infrastructure is often struggling to keep pace with population growth. Many residents live in informal housing without access to reliable electricity or running water, let alone air conditioning. These cities often lack the resources to implement large-scale heat adaptation strategies like public cooling centers or major greening projects. As a result, millions of people are left to face increasingly extreme temperatures with very few resources. These global examples paint a clear picture. No matter the location or level of economic development, extreme heat is a universal threat that demands a localized but globally conscious response. While the scale of the threat from extreme heat can feel overwhelming, there are simple, practical steps that every individual can take to protect themselves and their families. The first and most important rule is to stay informed. Pay attention to local weather forecasts and sign up for heat alerts from your city or county health department. Knowing when a heat wave is coming gives you time to prepare. The second rule is to stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water. Avoid sugary drinks, caffeine, alcohol. Your body needs water to sweat and cool itself down effectively. Next, focus on staying cool. If you have air conditioning, use it. If you are worried about the cost, even a few hours in a cool room can help your body recover. If you do not have AC, spend time in air-conditioned public places such as a library, a shopping mall, or a designated community cooling center. At home, use fans to circulate air, take cool showers or baths, place a cool, wet cloth on your neck or wrists. During the hottest part of the day, keep curtains and blinds closed. Wear clothing that is lightweight, light-colored, loose-fitting. Adjust your routine. Avoid strenuous activity at peak heat. Never ever leave children or pets in a parked car, not even for a minute. Plan errands for morning or evening. Finally, check on others, older relatives, friends, neighbors, especially those who live alone or have chronic conditions. Protecting ourselves from extreme heat requires more than just individual actions. It demands that we build smarter, cooler, and more resilient communities. Cities and local governments have a critical role to play in creating environments that are safer for everyone during a heat wave. One of the most effective long-term strategies is to increase green space. Planting trees along streets, in parks, and in residential neighborhoods, shade dramatically lowers surface and air temperatures. Green spaces also cool the air through evapotranspiration. A city with a healthy tree canopy is a cooler, more pleasant, safer city for everyone. Another powerful strategy is to use cool surfaces. Dark asphalt and black roofing absorb enormous heat and radiate it back. Cool roofs and cool pavements reflect more sunlight and absorb less heat. At scale, these changes can lower ambient temperatures, reduce energy consumption for air conditioning, and make entire neighborhoods more comfortable and safer. Every community should have a comprehensive heat action plan, with robust early warning systems and clearly identified public cooling centers accessible to all. Cities must protect outdoor workers by mandating access to water, shade, and rest breaks during high heat. Ultimately, prioritize the most vulnerable with weatherization programs and subsidies for cooling. As the CDC emphasizes, heat is a public health issue that requires a health equity lens. By focusing on cooler, greener, more supportive neighborhoods, we can build communities prepared to withstand today's and tomorrow's heat waves. The threat of extreme heat is real, it is growing, and it is here now. We can no longer afford to think of heat waves as a simple feature of summer. They are a serious public health emergency, a silent killer, that strains our bodies and our infrastructure to the breaking point. The science is clear, and the stories from cities around the world serve as a stark warning. But a warning is not a prediction of an unchangeable fate. It is a call to action. We have the knowledge and the tools to protect ourselves and our communities, but we must choose to use them. The choices we make today will determine how many lives are saved tomorrow. This is a challenge we must face together. We need to foster a culture of preparedness and mutual care. We must demand investments in cooler surfaces, more green spaces, and stronger power grids. Support policies that protect outdoor workers, our elderly neighbors, and families who cannot afford air conditioning. Trusted organizations like the WHO show proactive planning and education reduce deaths. You can take one clear action right now. Learn your community's heat risks, find local cooling centers, know heat stroke signs, and make a simple family plan. How you'll stay cool, stay hydrated, and who you will check on. Advocate for a heat action plan, trees, cool roofs, and safe public spaces. The heat will come again. It will be stronger, and it will last longer. Let's not be caught unprepared. Let's be ready. Let's protect ourselves, and let's protect each other. The time to act is now, before the next silent heat wave arrives.